On April 12, 2015, Freddie Gray, a 25-year-old African-American man, was arrested for possessing a knife that was later determined to be legal under Maryland law as it was revealed to be a spraying-assisted knife. Video footage showed Gray struggling to get up as officers shackled his hands and legs. During transport in a police van, Gray was now secured with a seatbelt, leaving him unable to brace himself as the truck moved. This resulted in a severe spinal cord injury, and Gray fell into a coma, dying a week later. Before his death, Gray had faced significant medical, behavioral, and educational challenges, which he attributed to lead poisoning from the paint in his childhood home, as shown by the 2008 lawsuit filed by Gray and his siblings against the property owner. Lead paint has been illegal in residential applications in the US since 1978, as it is a neurotoxin. This reveals the ignorance that was shown towards Gray and his family when they received the home, and presents a possible reality that many neurodivergent individuals face, especially if they come from low-income or minority backgrounds. Beneath this growing awareness lies systemic inequality, one that disproportionately affects neurodivergent individuals, especially those from marginalized communities. In this video today, I'll discuss modern-day systemic inequalities and how they impact neurodivergent individuals. Systemic inequalities in mental health are deeply entrenched in our society, rooted in a history of neglect, discrimination, and misunderstanding. For example, until 1973, the American Psychiatric Association classified homosexuality as a mental disorder, according to the article that I read that will be provided in the link below, in the description or whatever. Another example would be the Reagan administration in the 1980s, where significant cuts were made to federal mental health funding through the 1981 Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, which shifted funding from a federal to state control issue, and consequently cut budgets by a large amount. This led to the closure of many community mental health centers and the deinstitutionalization without proper community-based support. Inequalities manifest in many ways: lack of access to diagnosis and treatment, stigma in workplaces and schools, and a disproportionate impact of poverty and socioeconomic disparity among neurodivergent individuals. An analysis by Athena Health conducted in 2020 examined de-identified data from over 24 million patients' primary care visits within its network. The study was meant to understand how diagnosis of anxiety and depression varied across different demographic groups, mostly in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic. While mental health struggles affect all racial and/or ethnic groups, how those struggles are identified and treated changes massively. In this analysis, it was shown that white patients were more likely to be diagnosed with depression and anxiety than Black, Hispanic/Latino, and most notably Asian patients. Compared to white patients, Asian patients had a 2.27 times lower odds of being diagnosed with anxiety and a 2.13 times lower odds of being diagnosed with depression. These trends suggest that racial and/or ethnic minorities are often underdiagnosed for mental health conditions. These disparities are attributed to biases within the healthcare system, stigma and cultural barriers, and implied mistrust of the healthcare system due to historical injustices. Another implication it can have for understanding racial biases is its bias in diagnostic practices. These statistics suggest that implicit and possibly explicit biases within the healthcare system, and that providers could hold stereotypes that influence their diagnostic decisions. These disparities are not due to lower rates of mental health conditions in Asian communities, but instead point to systemic failures in the healthcare system. These statistics reflect a system that doesn't serve everyone equally, and they show how racial and cultural disparities manifest not only in healthcare, but also in how we recognize and respond to mental health needs. Mental health needs like access to early diagnosis, crisis intervention, and ongoing support for conditions like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and autism, and many, many others. For many individuals and marginalized communities, symptoms are often misunderstood, dismissed, or criminalized, rather than treated with care and understanding. Research by Olivia Discorbeth in 2020 in the article Neural Processes for Live Pro-Social Dialogue Between Dyads with Socioeconomic Disparity emphasizes this divide and shows that individuals from different socioeconomic backgrounds experience more cognitive effort and anxiety during live conversations. Discorbeth and her team use dual brain functional near-infrared spectroscopy hyperscanning, a neuroimaging technique that looks at two people's brains at the same time. Basically, Functional near-infrared spectroscopy acts as a flashlight for the brain that detects how much oxygen is in different parts of the brain, when that part of the brain is more active than others, such as when you're thinking or talking about something, which is basically a focal part of this experiment. In summary, the dual brain functional near-infrared spectroscopy hyperscanning measures how the brain uses oxygen, especially when two people interact in real time and see how their brain activity connects or matches up. Their study used brain imaging to observe how people's brains synchronize during social interactions, when pairs of individuals from different income or education levels talk face to face. In the abstract, we're told that the results from this experiment are that post-scan questionnaires confirm increased anxiety and effort for high disparity dyads, telling us that people from different socioeconomic backgrounds, such as the article goes to mention, high disparity dyads, which is just two people from very different socioeconomic backgrounds, feel more stressed and have to work harder during something as simple as a social conversation. This quote and the info from this article suggest that these disparities go far beyond simply just finances, but that they can create real psychological burdens that can interfere with access to care, particularly for neurodivergent individuals who already navigate unique challenges in communication and support systems. Knowing why this conversation is important is how we can properly advocate for neurodivergent individuals and push for equitable policies, build awareness campaigns, and mobilize communities to demand culturally competent care, ensuring that support systems understand the cultural backgrounds, values, and life experiences of neurodivergent individuals, particularly those from marginalized communities. It requires addressing implicit biases and acknowledging how race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status shape access to care. It is also important that support systems are meant to improve the quality of life of neurodivergent individuals by creating safe, supportive environments that recognize the impact of past trauma, whether that be from systemic oppression, discrimination, and/or personal experiences. These facts matter, as they're not just abstract stats or historical footnotes. They describe how whole groups of people are denied the support they need and eventually pushed to the edge. It is important to shine a light on these inequalities and advocate for change, so we can reveal how society pays the price for untreated mental health needs and the lack of support given. One reason why it's important is simply because inequality creates stigma. Every time a clinician, a teacher, or employer dismisses someone's struggles as just bad behavior, it instills the message that neurodivergent minds just don't belong.